Spencer Tracy's final confession about Katharine Hepburn. Spencer Tracy was born on April 5, 1900, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. From the very beginning, his life was shaped by struggle, discipline, and a deep sense of curiosity. His father, John Edward Tracy, was a truck salesman, and his mother, Caroline Brown, was a devoted homemaker. The Tracys weren't wealthy, but they were proud, hardworking people who valued honesty above all. As a young boy, Spencer was restless, often more interested in exploring than studying. He attended several schools, frequently getting into trouble for his mischievous nature. But even then, teachers noticed something special in him, a quiet intensity, a presence that drew attention. Despite his lack of interest in academics, Spencer had a sharp mind and an instinct for human emotion, qualities that would later define his acting career. Growing up in Milwaukee during the early 1900s wasn't easy. America was changing fast, the world was moving toward war, industry was booming, and families like the Tracys were just trying to keep up. Spencer's early years were filled with both challenge and charm, street games with neighborhood kids, long days of chores, and evenings listening to stories told by his father when World War I broke out. Tracy's adventurous side pushed him to join the Navy while still a teenager. He trained hard but never saw combat before the war ended. That experience, however, matured him. It gave him discipline and a sense of direction that he had been missing. After the war, he decided to continue his education and enrolled at Ripon College in Wisconsin. At Ripon, something unexpected happened. Spencer discovered acting. It started with a simple college play, but once he stepped on stage, he felt alive in a way he never had before. The applause, the transformation, the emotional truth of performance, it all clicked. Encouraged by his professors, he decided to pursue acting seriously and soon joined the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. Life in New York wasn't glamorous. Tracy struggled with money, rejection, and self-doubt. Yet his determination never broke. He worked odd jobs, rehearsed endlessly, and learned from every failure. Slowly, his raw talent began to shine. By the late 1920s, his stage performances caught the attention of Hollywood producers. And Spencer Tracy's journey from a mischievous Milwaukee boy to one of America's greatest actors had officially begun. After years of small stage performances and endless auditions, Spencer Tracy finally found his place in Hollywood. The early 1930s were a time of change in the film industry. Silent films were fading, and sound had become the new heartbeat of cinema. Tracy's deep, commanding voice and natural way of speaking made him stand out immediately. His first major break came when he was signed by Fox Film Corporation. Though his early films didn't turn him into an overnight star, critics noticed something rare, a sense of honesty in his acting. Spencer didn't act like most leading men of the time. He didn't pose or exaggerate. Instead, he spoke like a real person, filled with emotion, vulnerability, and truth. That authenticity soon became his signature. In 1935, Tracy moved to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer MGM, a studio that would change his life. There, he began working alongside Hollywood's most powerful directors and stars. Roles in movies like Fury 1936 and San Francisco 1936 revealed his ability to carry a story with quiet strength. By the late 1930s, Tracy had become one of MGM's most respected actors, not for his looks or glamour, but for his depth. Then came the golden years. Tracy won back-to-back Academy Awards for Captain's Courageous 1937 and Boys Town 1938, a feat few actors had achieved. He wasn't just performing, he was living the part. Every expression, every pause, every line he spoke felt real. Audiences believed him because he believed in his characters. Off-screen, Tracy remained humble and private. Fame didn't change him. He often said he was just a workman doing his job. Directors admired his discipline. Fellow actors respected his honesty. Even in moments of personal struggle, Spencer gave everything to his craft. He wasn't chasing celebrity, he was chasing truth. By the 1940s, Spencer Tracy had become the soul of classic Hollywood. His performances in Edison, The Man, Father of the Bride, and Adam's Rib proved that he could do it all: drama, comedy, romance. And behind the camera, something else began: a friendship and connection with Katharine Hepburn that would soon define the rest of his life and legacy. Before Katharine Hepburn entered his world, Spencer Tracy's life was already marked by both love and struggle. In 1923, he married Louise Treadwell, a talented actress he met while performing in New York. Their bond began with shared dreams and the excitement of two young artists trying to survive in the harsh world of show business. Together, they believed they could take on anything. A few years into their marriage, they welcomed to children a son, John, and a daughter, Louise Jr.B., but their happiness was soon tested when they discovered that John was born profoundly deaf. In an era when resources for deaf children were scarce, Spencer and Louise faced heartbreak few could understand. Spencer blamed himself, calling it a punishment for his own flaws. That guilt stayed with him for life. Louise, on the other hand, turned her pain into purpose. She founded the John Tracy Clinic in Los Angeles, a center dedicated to helping hearing-impaired children, a legacy that still stands today. As Spencer's Hollywood career took off, the pressures of fame and his growing dependence on alcohol began to strain their marriage. He often disappeared for days, lost in work or his own emotional battles. Yet, despite their distance, Louise never stopped caring for him. She remained devoted even when their relationship became more of a quiet friendship than a marriage. Tracy's Catholic upbringing made divorce unthinkable. He believed marriage was sacred, no matter how broken it became. This inner conflict created a lifelong tension. He could not free himself to marry Hepburn, yet he could not stop loving her either. It was a burden he carried privately, hidden behind his stoic expression on screen. In interviews, Louise rarely spoke bitterly of him. She described Spencer as a man of great compassion and great pain, even after years apart. She defended his memory, saying he had always tried to be a good husband and father in his own way. Spencer, meanwhile, supported his family quietly. He remained connected to his children and took pride in John's accomplishments, especially in his ability to live a full life despite his challenges. His marriage to Louise may have lost its spark, but it revealed the heart of the man, loyal, conflicted, and deeply human. It showed that behind the fame and the film sets, Spencer Tracy was not a flawless legend, but a man wrestling with the same emotions we all face: love, guilt, duty, and the longing to do what's right. In the end, his life was shaped by two great loves, one bound by vows and faith, and the other by soul and destiny. And between them stood Spencer Tracy, a man whose heart was forever divided, yet deeply devoted to both. When Spencer Tracy met Katharine Hepburn on the set of Woman of the Year in 1941, it wasn't just another Hollywood pairing, it was the beginning of a bond that would last a lifetime. From the very first scene, there was something magnetic between them. Hepburn later said she knew the moment she saw him that he was unlike anyone she had ever met. Tracy was calm, quiet, and deeply grounded, the opposite of Hepburn's fiery, outspoken energy. Yet that contrast created a spark. Their chemistry was undeniable, both on screen and off. What started as professional respect soon turned into something far more profound, a love that would define both their lives. But their relationship was far from simple. Spencer Tracy was married to Louise Treadwell, and though they had long been separated emotionally, he never divorced her. Bound by his Catholic faith and guilt, Tracy struggled to reconcile his feelings. Hepburn, understanding his inner conflict, chose to stand by him, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. For 26 years, they lived a love that was both beautiful and heartbreaking. They shared homes, meals, laughter, and quiet moments away from Hollywood's glare. Yet, they could never share a public life together. Katharine was always the other woman, but she accepted that role because she believed in the man behind the legend. Together, they made 9 films, each one reflecting their real connection. Movies like Adam's Rib, Pat and Mike, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner captured their genuine affection, their witty battles, and their silent understanding. Every glance between them on screen carried the weight of unspoken love. Behind the scenes, Hepburn became Tracy's anchor. She helped him through his struggles with insomnia and alcoholism, cared for him during his weakest moments, and protected his privacy fiercely. For her, loving Spencer Tracy wasn't about fame, it was about devotion. Their final film together, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner 1967, was bittersweet. Tracy was gravely ill, and everyone on set knew it might be his last. Hepburn stayed by his side through every take, every long night, and every moment of pain. Just weeks after finishing the movie, Spencer Tracy passed away. Hepburn later said, "He was the best man I ever knew." Their love never needed a label, a ring, or a title. It lived quietly, sincerely, and forever, the kind of love that Hollywood rarely tells truthfully. By the mid-1960s, Spencer Tracy was a man worn by time. Decades of hard work, sleepless nights, and heavy drinking had taken a toll on his health. Yet even as his body weakened, his spirit remained strong, driven by love, faith, and the woman who had never left his side. Katharine Hepburn. Tracy had always been a private man, one who spoke little about his feelings. But as his final years approached, he began to reflect deeply on the choices he had made, the people he had loved, and the secrets he had carried. Friends close to him said that in quiet moments, Spencer often confessed that his greatest comfort and his greatest guilt was his love for Hepburn. He once admitted, "She gave me more than I ever deserved." Those who knew him said that behind his gruff exterior was a man torn between duty and desire. He loved his wife, Louise, for her loyalty, but his heart belonged to Katharine. That conflict haunted him until the end. By 1966, Tracy's health had deteriorated dramatically. He suffered from diabetes, heart disease, and exhaustion. Still, he refused to give up acting. When Hepburn brought him the script for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, he hesitated at first. He feared he wouldn't survive long enough to finish it. But Hepburn gently persuaded him, saying it was a story about love and acceptance, something they both understood deeply. Throughout filming, Hepburn was his constant guardian. She arranged his schedule, kept the set quiet, and shielded him from stress. Cast and crew later recalled how she would watch him with silent worry between takes, her eyes filled with both admiration and fear. Despite his weakness, Tracy delivered one of the most heartfelt performances of his career. His monologue at the end of the film about love transcending everything felt less like a line from a script and more like a message to her. After wrapping the film, Spencer Tracy seemed at peace for the first time in years. On June 10, 1967, just a few weeks after completing the movie, he passed away quietly in his Beverly Hills home. Katharine Hepburn was with him, as she had been for the past 26 years. In the days before his death, Tracy reportedly told a close friend, "I have loved her every day of my life. And that's enough." It was his final confession, simple, honest, and deeply human. For Hepburn, his loss was unbearable. She disappeared from the public eye for months, later saying, "When he died, I lost my heart." Spencer Tracy's final truth wasn't about fame or success. It was about love, the kind that asks for nothing, yet gives everything.